Morning, guys. How are you all today? Hope you're getting along okay. We're getting near the end of the marking period, so continue to do a good job on your work. Scores are very high. Just make sure that when you're done your work on Khan Academy that you hit submit. Anyway, try to wear blue today. As you can see, I have the blue shirt on because you can see over my right shoulder it's National Autism Awareness Day. So show your support for autism awareness and research in that regard by wearing blue. And today we're going to be working on just an extra step on multiplying polynomials. Yesterday we multiplied two binomials together and used FOIL. Today we're going to multiply a quantity with a binomial and a quantity with a trinomial. So it's like 6 mini equations. And then we put together the like terms at the end to simplify. So that's what we're going to learn next. Stay tuned. All right, so the first problem we're going to do is right here, and you can see the two quantities, the binomial 2x minus 3 times the trinomial negative 3x squared plus 4x minus 5. Let's go to the whiteboard. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is multiply the 2x times the negative 3x squared. So 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, and then x times x squared is x to the third. Does everyone see that? Next, 2x times 4x, so 2 times 4 is 8, plus 8, and then x times x, x squared. Got it? And then what do you think's next? That's right. 2x times negative 5. So the negative 5 doesn't have a variable next to it, does it? So we just go 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. And then x, there's nothing next to the x, next to the 5, I should say. And we put an x. There you go. That's the start. Now we go with the second term in the binomial, negative 3 times negative 3x squared. Well, 3 times 3 is 9, and a negative times a negative is plus 9. And there's no x here. There is one here, so we just bring that over and put an x squared. How about that? Next, negative 3 times the middle term, which is 4x. So we know when we multiply 3 times 4, we get 12. And a negative times a positive is a negative 12. All right, and then we bring the x from right here down and get negative 12x. And then last but not least, 3 times 5 is 15, and a negative times a negative is a positive. Okay, next we're going to combine like terms. So when you look at our answer, we have 6 terms, and we have to try to find the things that are in like terms. Well, there's nothing else in this string that has an x cubed, is there? So we're just going to write that down. Negative 6x to the third. That's done. Why don't we cross that out? And then we say, okay, there's an x squared and there's an x squared. So the coefficients, 9 and 8, when added together, give us 17 plus 17. And then we bring down the x squared. And let's get rid of those two. And then we do see we have a negative 10x and a negative 12x. They're in like terms. So negative 10 minus 12 is negative 22x. Let's get rid of those two. And then the 15 stands alone. So we're going to put that on the back end. And look what we end up with. An answer of negative 6x. Let's try that again. Negative 6x to the third plus 17x squared minus 22x plus 15. And there's nothing else we could do with that. That is simplified and it's in its lowest terms. Now this one is your turn. So I want you to take a second, write this down, stop the video, do your 6 mini multiplication problems, combine like terms, and see what you get. Okay, so now this isn't the complete answer, but first I wanted to show you, I'm going to multiply the 3x, the first term of the binomial, times all 3 terms of the trinomial. So the first equation I would do, or first multiplication I would do, would be to take these 2 terms, multiply them together to get that guy right there, 3x to the 4th. See how we're doing it? Then we would take 3x times 4x squared, and then 3x times -6, and those are your answers. Then I multiplied the second term, the 1, which we know 1 times anything is going to be what we started with over here. So as we back this off, we just rewrite the trinomial x to the 3rd, 4x squared, minus 6. Now we need to find like terms for those 6 terms that we just wrote out. Okay, now we're going to combine like terms. So the 4 terms, I actually didn't do it for the -6, but the 4 terms that stand alone, they don't have anything that they match up with, I just took and put 1 line under them. There really should have been 1 line under the -6 as well. So anyway, I took 3x to the 4th and brought that down, x to the 3rd and brought that down. But I did have to combine the 12x squared and the 4x. These 2 guys are in like terms. So when I add those coefficients, I get 16x squared. And then I follow through by bringing -18x down and -6. And I want to make one other point that goes back to last week's lesson. And look how I wrote these out, the order that I wrote them out in. If you remember last week, we were talking about putting the x to the 4th first, x to the 3rd, x to the 2nd, x constant, okay, in a descending fashion. We called it a degree. Okay, so this problem would be most correct because I also put them in a declining fashion, going from the highest exponent, 3x to the 4th, down to the constant, which was -6. All right, guys, that's it for today. Now you're going to have a Khan Academy lesson, a little video, 2 minutes, then 4 questions to follow up with. Please make sure that you submit them correctly. Some of you are putting in a little time on the video and then not getting any credit because there's no answers being shown. Right behind me here, since we're not having baseball this year, I thought I would sit near this little piece of memorabilia. These are Phillies tickets to the World Series of 1964. The Phillies had something like a 7-game lead with 9 games to play, and they proceeded to lose every game at the end until they got to a weekend series and won right at the end. But the Cardinals beat them out to get to go to the World Series because they collapsed. So my uncle bought these tickets, but he never turned them in for the money. So, and he gave them to me. It was right there. I'll give you a little closer look. So they're kind of a cool piece of memorabilia that I have in my basement. Anyway, have a great day today. Wear blue, Autism Awareness Day.